one of the big things to being authentic is understanding who you are. So we see statements like, know yourself, be authentic, have courage. And there's an emphasis on self-discovery. When we understand who we are, then we have the ability to be authentic in particular situations that we find ourselves. Now, over the last couple of months, I've been using this extra time that COVID's provided to delve into the Myers-Briggs analysis a little bit more, having done it many times, done the Enneagram test, and I guess all these processes are trying to provide insight. Understanding self allows us to act in a way that aligns with our values in various situations that we find ourselves in. But this self-reflection comes at a cost. It is pretty exhausting. There seems like a pressure that I need to fully understand myself. And then there are situations where we contradict the things that we value, or where we act in a way that is opposite to what we esteem to be right, or how we expected ourselves to respond. One of the most challenging things is when we contradict who we expect ourselves to be. And in Jesus' final days, when he was having a meal with those whom had been following him for the longest, one of his disciples, one of his friends, Peter, sort of stated his allegiance. There's a sense that Peter was genuinely affirming his commitment towards Jesus. But Jesus knew that his allegiance would come into question very soon. And so although Peter states that he would go with Jesus wherever he goes, Jesus challenges him and says, I tell you, before the rooster crows today, you'll deny 3 times that you know me. And within the next 12 hours or so, when Peter was confronted whether he had an allegiance towards Jesus, each of those 3 times he denied it. He was living in a contradiction to his held beliefs. He believed to be a friend of Jesus. He'd seen Jesus do these amazing things. He really had a sense that Jesus was a significant person from God. But when the situation came to the fore, he wasn't courageous. He actually compromised. While self-discovery is beneficial, there are situations where it is limited. When we contradict the very person whom we esteem to be, we have a choice. Do we make excuses? Do we justify that this occasion was the exception to the rule? Do we use it as an opportunity to grow and learn? You see, in this interaction between Peter and Jesus, we see that often there are situations when the pressure is on and that we fail to live out our true identity. It wasn't long before Jesus eventually died on a cross. And 3 days later he rose again, and then he had another interaction with Peter. Peter was out fishing, and Jesus approached him. And at that time, Jesus gave him another opportunity to express his allegiance towards him. On 3 occasions, Peter says that he does love Jesus. And so there's a sense that to be authentic is about understanding ourselves, but it's actually not until we have a relationship with Jesus that we have a mechanism to receive grace and forgiveness for those situations in our life where we fail, where we contradict our own values, or where we fall short of our own standard. And so to be truly authentic involves us not just looking inward, but looking outward. What would it look like for you to look towards Jesus? What would it look like for you to courageously invite him to speak into the areas in your life where you contradict not only your values but his? What would it look like for you to bring your failures to him to hear how he will respond?